Welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Ghana Education Service challenges findings by Office of Special Prosecutor and the Controller and Accountant General's Department that staff of a non-existent school in the Komungu district draw salary from the public payroll. Details as they dare the OSP to publish names of the culprits. Also on this program, Minister for Food and Agriculture Brian Echampong dismisses allegation of impropriety in the purchase of majority stake in SNIT hotels. Meanwhile, a crunch meeting involving the leadership of organized labor over the matter is currently underway. We are live there. And much later, opposition NDC alleges the National Identification Authority Ghana Card Registration Pilot Program in Pusiga in Northeast Region is a last-minute maneuvering to aid illegal voter registration. They are demanding a halt to the exercise. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the Komungu District Education Directorate has challenged the findings by the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Controller and Accountant General's Department that the primary school in the Komungu district did not exist and yet has staff drawing salaries from the public payroll. According to the Directorate, the OSP's findings cannot be true, insisting every school and staff in the district are accounted for. The Directorate has dared the OSP to release the names of the affected school or staff members. The Office of the Special Prosecutor in its payroll audit on educational institutions in the Komungu district said that a staggering amount of 2.8 million Ghana cedis was identified as unearned monthly salaries attributed to individuals who were deceased, retired, no longer in their positions, flagged as missing, or whose whereabouts were unknown, commonly referred to as ghost names. Let's go now and speak to a Northern Region correspondent, Christopher Mwako, who is in the Komungu community. Chris, what exactly does the Directorate mean by simply describing the OSP statement as untrue?
Komungu district has 89 kindergarten schools, 89 primary schools, and 33 junior high schools. And according to the Education Directorate, all these schools are operational. There is not a single school that is not operational. All their staff are at post, and none of them have come to complain that he or she has not received his or her salary because of the investigations conducted by the OSP. The Directorate has admitted that the OSP was in the district to conduct such an investigation. And after their investigation, they were told that some three staff were affected, and it's because of the movement transfer from one school to the other. And so their names, they were not validated. But when the complaint came and they followed up, as it stands now, they received their salary. So there is no single staff who has been affected or the salary blocked.
All right, so what we are getting is that the school officials in Komungu are saying that the OSP's report cannot be true. But if you look at the report from the OSP that was released yesterday, it simply says that it's not like the school you can see physically. It's like a school has been cloned, meaning that a school that doesn't exist but on paper has staff and people drawing salaries. Did those officials who spoke to you explain really what they mean by dismissing this very argument from the OSP? All right, it seems we've lost Christopher Amwako there, but we'll reconnect to him and continue that conversation with him. Meanwhile, some teacher unions are kicking against the OSP and the Controller and Accountant General's Department report on ghost names. The report by the two institutions reviewed that nearly 3 million cedis in salaries earned by ghost names of persons who were deceased, untraceable, or retired in the northern region. Now, this expose was as a result of a joint investigation into the government payroll administration focusing on employees in the northern region. But the coalition of concerned teachers have questioned the report. We'll be speaking to a representative shortly, but let's wrap up our conversation with Christopher Amwako. Christopher, I asked you a question earlier about what the OSP said in its report, that you won't see this school physically, but on paper you have it and people are drawing salaries from the government.
Yes, so according to the Education Directorate, they have also conducted their investigations, and there is no such school that the OSP is talking about. And so they do not have the records. And if the OSP investigation points out to a particular school that is non-existent, then it means that they don't have it in their record and GES is not aware. But the other thing the Directorate is also saying is that if the OSP could tell them that this particular community, this particular school, then they know that it is this school and they make their follow-up. But as far as they are concerned, they do not have any such data.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Christopher Amwako. He's our Northern Region correspondent. Let's speak to the Director of Communications for the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, Afful. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Hello? Hello, Mr. Kwe, can you hear us? All right, we may have to reconnect to him and bring you that conversation from the representative of the Concerned Teachers Association and really what their concerns are as regards this report from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Mr. Kwe, if you can hear us, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon to your listeners.
So it seems that teacher unions are fighting this report from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. What's your reason, really?
But it seems somebody doesn't know the nitty-gritties of Ghana Education Service. So at the end of the day, if you want to do something as such, there is a need for you to get in touch with the employer in Ghana Education Service. And as you heard from your reporter, in every district, there is a district director of education before a regional director of education. We have circuit supervisors. And you are saying that where they claim there is no school, that some people are being paid salaries. You cannot lay, it could be true, yes, but you cannot lay the blame under the doors of Ghana Education Service. This could be a cartel formed by anybody who has got in touch with somebody at Controller and Accountant General's Department. And they are doing this. And you cannot say that maybe there is a school that doesn't exist. So Ghana Education Service knows about it. Ghana Education Service doesn't know anything about it. They know their teachers.
Mr. Kwe, have you seen the report? Have you seen the report from the OSP?
I've seen the report.
The report is clearly, it looks like an undercover investigation. So why should the OSP contact people that it suspects could be involved in it? And that report actually says that some head teachers were even involved in validating those that were withdrawing ghost name salaries.
I have read the report. You see, let me come to the issue of validation. I have been a validator 2 years ago. I moved from the district in which I'm located. I'm in the new district. Now, I'm not supposed to validate. I was assisting my head teacher. Now, I'm not supposed to validate again. It will interest you to know that till date, every month, controller sends me a message that I should validate the staff. But I refuse. Now, which means if I should go ahead and validate, and it might happen that there is a teacher that is no more in the system, I'll be held liable. So for me, I don't do the validation again. But whose mandate is it supposed to be that who should stop me from validating it? Why is controller still sending me the messages that I should validate? When they know that I've moved from that district and I'm no more in that district, I even have a new managing unit on my payslip and they are aware. But they are still sending me information to validate somebody in another district. Now, when somebody leaves a school, you can continue validating that person for 3 months. That is the rule. After 3 months, you don't validate the person again. When somebody also gets into your school Where he left, that person must validate the person 3 months, and then you take over. If the person's unit doesn't change, for it to appear automatically into your system, then you take over. So you add the person as unknown. And the person who has left, and after 3 months, the name is still appearing, you add the person, you declare the person missing.
Mr. Kwe, would you appreciate the argument that you may not personally be involved in validating ghost names, as it were, but there could be other people involved, and perhaps it would be incumbent on teacher unions like yourself to collaborate with the OSP on fishing out these individuals and indeed ensuring that the system is cleared?
If there is that issue, it is not within the domain of Ghana Education Service or teacher union. It will be a cartel doing their own thing. So OSP can go and investigate their own thing. But
all right, I'm sorry. We just had a problem with the line there, but that was Afful. He speaks for the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, actually the Director of Communications for that association. Our Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brani Champong, has described as baseless accusations by MP for North Tonk, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, that he is illegally purchasing 60% of shares in 4 of SNIT hotels under some very shady circumstances. Mr. Ablakwa, who petitioned the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Shraj, to investigate and stop the deal, alleges that lack of due process, conflict of interest and abuse of power led him to petition Shraj. Now, he says the MP also alleges that the minister, who doubles as a lawmaker for the people of Abetifi in the Eastern region, did not seek the approval of the speaker to engage in a profitable venture. Now, during an interview on Accra-based Joy FM earlier today, the minister, who engaged in a heated discussion with Okudzeto-Ablakwa, insisted that there was nothing untoward in the deal. Listen.
They triggered the agreement between the two of them, okay? And it is only when they are not able to fulfill that arrangement is when they can come back to their now new buyer and say that, okay, we now can go ahead with the deal. So that is what the transaction is. Nothing has been infringed. The way I have been briefed and the way it has been presented, nothing has been breached. They have written to them. And if they want to take it and they take it, there will be no deal. So if the private sector person has been offered at $3 million and accepted, and which is for every 25% share is equivalent to $1 million. And SNIT is also offered the same $1 million. Wherein lies the shortchanging? So the fact that you have a value of an item at 8.4, and you go into negotiations and achieve 7.4, because the benchmark on the market is really what the private sector person has offered, at least at the barest minimum. Wherein lies the strong words of shady meetings, bizarre preferential treatment, and unholy alliance. Sammy, knowing this, will you still use these words?
Let me read from page 2 of the intercepted meeting on the negotiations, which totally disprove what the Honorable Brian Champon is saying. So this is Mr. Osafumafu's speaking. SNIT's proposition on the sale price. Mr. Osafumafu stated that the trust had an independent valuation done, and the value of the trust, 25%, was 8.6 million Ghana cedis. Consequently, SNIT cannot accept RCG's offer of 5.6 million for SNIT's 25% equity stake. An agreement has been reached between RCG's proposed offer of 5.6 million and SNIT's proposed sale price of 8.6 million. So you see from this minute that Mr. Osafumafu, who was then Deputy Director General for IDD, confirming that the actual value is 8.6 million.
So you had that conversation between Brani Champong, MP for Abetifi, and Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who is the MP for North Tonk. Meanwhile, the leadership of Organised Labour is in a crunch meeting over the matter. Labour has kicked against the deal and demanded that it be halted. Dr. Yauban is Secretary General of the TUC.
We also find it difficult to understand why SNIT's interest in these hotels should be sold to a company owned by a minister of state. We do not think this is right. Organized labor, therefore, demands that the process of the sale of Senate's interest in the hotels be cancelled immediately. We are calling on the minister responsible for pensions to direct the board of trustees of Senate to cancel the process immediately. Otherwise, we, organized labor, we will advise ourselves.
And you heard the Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yalba. Daniel Opoku is our Labour Affairs correspondent. He's monitoring this crunch meeting. He joins us live on the phone. Daniel, what have you gathered from this meeting so far? Okay, it seems we've lost Daniel Opoku on the line, but we will reconnect to him and bring you the latest from that meeting with organized labor. Ahead of that, from today, all petroleum tanker drivers across the country are laying down their tools in protest of the delay in the approval of the drivers and mates conditions of service framework. Now, since 2017, when the framework was proposed, it's still not been approved, causing agitations among operators. The framework, among other things, will segregate the drivers and mates margins allocated to transporters, wishing the Unified Petroleum Price Fund margin, thereby facilitating direct remuneration to operators by the NPA. Let's listen to George Nyonu, who is the National Chairman, Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union.
Because if tanker owners are going to fight for increment, okay, they go and negotiate increment on behalf of all the tanker owners in the country. Yeah. So when tanker owners agree on a framework, why should OMC come back and say no, they will not agree? And to our surprise, the board of NPA, which the government appoints, okay, we are looking at them as government in our sector to approve it, so that we'll see who will say he will not pay. Yeah. But the government rep in NPA also refused to approve it. So we don't know what game they are playing with us.
Okay, so you're laying down your tools from today until something is done.
Exactly.
So how will that affect, what will be the impact of your strike?
I don't know, but we are demanding something from, because as we rightly say, we love Ghana. We don't want to punish Ghana, and then we don't want to do something at least to tarnish the image of the country. This has nothing to do with politics. We have seen the effort the leaders are doing. Okay.
And you heard the chairman, national chairman of the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union. Let's return to our earlier story about that crunch meeting of organized labor regarding the sale of Senate hotels to Brani Champong. Daniel Opoku is monitoring that meeting for us. He joins us live now. Daniel, what have you picked from this meeting so far?
Okay, so currently, organized labor is in a meeting. Yesterday, the leadership met, and the decisions they took, they have decided to meet the entire organized labor body. So currently, a meeting where I have spotted the leader of the Ghana Federation of Labor and also CrossTag, and then you have Dr. Yalba, who is the spokesperson of organized labor, the another general secretary of other unions, coming to discuss what has been happening at Senate currently. Let's not forget that right after yesterday's news conference, the three representatives of organized labor on the Senate board went to a meeting, and that meeting dragged. So what transpired in that meeting is what they are going to brief the members now. And right after the briefing, they'll be able to take a firm decision. But their decision still stands that Senate should cancel that deal, and the Minister of Pensions, who is the Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, also proceed and get that particular deal cancelled.
Daniel, what more can you tell us as regards, really, at the end of the day, what we should expect to see?
So at the end of the day, we should expect that organized labor will not change its position, where after several discussions have gone on. Because yesterday after the press conference, Dr. Yalba was saying that their representatives on the board have told them several things. A lot of things have they told them with regard to the sale agreement and also the investments of Senate, where they have officially petitioned the president for a meeting to be convened and have a thorough discussion on the operations of Senate. that is yet to take place. So today, right after the meeting, is going to confirm indeed that the Senate should cancel the deal not to sell the 60% shares to Mr. Brian Champa, who is the Minister of Agri, and also the Minister of Employment and Labour is expected to step in. Now, right after today's meeting, if there should be any change, the change will not necessarily stop what the decision organized labor has taken. We see a lot of confirmation in the decision of organized labor that the deal should be suspended, the deal should be cancelled.
Thank you very much, Daniel Opoku, monitoring that meeting of labor unions on the sale of Senate hotels to Brian H. Hampon. Now, the Ghana National Fire Service has dismissed media reports that a premix fuel fire explosion led to the death of 2 people and 14 others injured. Reports emerged on Saturday that an explosion from a premix fuel in Jeresia Beach near Esikado in the Sekondi Takrady metropolis of the Western region killed 2 people and injured 14 others who had trooped to the explosion site. But speaking to 3 News, the Public Relations Officer of the National Fire Service, ACFO1, Timothy Afful, said that the fire was as a result of a spillage ignited by a fishmonger. He also cautioned Ghanaians to stop trooping to accident scenes.
They removed the fuel in the drum, was at the top side of the hill or of the slopey area. And so once there was a spillage, then you should understand that once it's a liquid, it will run down. So it ran down the slopey area to the lower portion where somebody was cooking. And therefore there was an ignition. And the ignition followed to the source of the spillage. As at the time, people gathered there were also scooping the fuel. That is the premix. And so the fire caught up with them, and some as a result died, others too sustained serious injuries, and some sustaining minor injuries. So in actual fact, there was no explosion, and I repeat, there was no explosion. We continue to educate the public, but the more we continue to educate, the more they also troop into emergency scenes. We have been telling them it is dangerous approaching emergency scenes. Even for us who have been trained to identify causes of explosion, sometimes we are caught up in those explosions. How about you who have no knowledge about signs that will lead to explosion or collapse of structures? And so we continue to educate them. But you know, once there is a financial reward in there, people don't mind the warning that we give them. Sometimes there is not even any financial reward in there. People just want to come in and see what is happening. And it is dangerous getting to emergency scenes. If you even want to get there, don't get close. Get to a distance far away.
And you heard the Public Relations Officer for the Ghana National Fire Service, Timothy Afful, speaking to us earlier. Now, the opposition National Democratic Congress is raising red flags over a special pilot Ghana card registration by the National Identification Authority in the Northeast region. The month-long exercise, which kicked off in Pusiga, is a collaboration between the National Identification Authority, NIA, and the International Organization for Migration. The NIA is aiming to capture the biodata of Ghanaians living along the Ghana-Burkina Faso border who have not been able to register for the Ghana card. But in a statement, the NDC Director of Elections, Dr. Manu, alleged that the exercise is a last-minute maneuvering by the NIA to aid illegal voter registration. We'll be engaging the NDC shortly, but let me bring you details of that statement issued by the NIA, and it's titled NIA in partnership with IOM begins special registration for the Ghana card in Pusiga. It says the National Identification Authority announces to the general public that in partnership with the International Organization for Migration, it will commence a special pilot Ghana card registration for Ghanaians living along the borders of Ghana and Burkina Faso beginning Monday, 20th May, that's yesterday, started yesterday, to Friday, 14th of June 2024 in Pusiga. The special pilot registration program will span over a month and will be conducted in 2 phases. Therefore, all Ghanaians living in Pusiga who have not been able to register are encouraged to do so. And it gives details of that. And on the second page of the statement, it says, in the absence of a birth certificate or a valid Ghana passport, 1 relative or 2 approved members of the community who have registered and received their Ghana card can vouch for you under oath. It gives a caution and says that any person who provides false information during registration or aids a foreigner to register for the Ghana card will be prosecuted to pay a fine and or serve a jail term if caught. So that's the statement from the NIA. But like I told you, the NDC is interpreting this whole exercise in a different way. We're joined by Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He is Deputy Director of Elections and IT with the position NDC. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Yeah, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. Doc, I just read the statement from the NIA to you. Why is the NDC misinterpreting or interpreting this in a different way?
Dear, you remember last week we held a press conference addressed by our General Secretary, Honorable Fifi Koti. In the press conference, we were specific about the abuse of Ghana card, especially Pusiga. He made mention of an electoral officer named Al-Hassan Muazu, who used one Ghana card to register over 20 people, and the person was arrested and subsequently granted bail. In a statement yesterday issued by the Electoral Commission, the Electoral Commission indicated in the statement that it's true that the gentleman was complicit in the crime, and went further to say that they also realized that fake Ghana cards were being used to register applicants for this voter identification. Now, coming on the heels of these issues pertaining registration around Pusiga, NIA quickly came out with a statement that they are going to do a pilot registration of Ghana cards around the border towns in Pusiga, specifically Pusiga, all of them around Pusiga. And they are doing it strategically on 20th to 31st. That means that they want to use the last 1 week to issue Ghana cards to illegal people to go and register. That is the intention.
Dr. Computer, is this not oversimplification of issues? Because I don't think that the NIA just woke up after statement and decided that we are doing this on this day.
It's not overstatement. I've just given a chronology of events that led to this. Because first they banned people from across and we stopped it. We said they are not Ghanaians. When we stopped it, the second lap was to now use fake Ghana cards. To the extent they are even using one to register more. We discovered it, arrested the gentleman. Then NIA now want to regularize it. And they now come out with this. And they just waited for the last week. Because we just have 6 days today. We have 6 days to the end of the registration exercise. Look at the timing of their issue of the card.
Dr. Computer, that statement, the last paragraph of it says that any person who provides false information during registration or aids a foreigner register for the Ghana card will be prosecuted to pay a fine or serve a jail term if caught. Is it that the NDC just wants to use every opportunity to bastardize state institutions?
Statement has been a template they have been using all along. Go and check all their statements anytime they are doing advertisement on people to come and register. They put it in there.
Won't you admit that it looks like NDC is just raising issues with every institution?
We are not the bastard. We are saying the timing. Look at it. Why Pusiga? Don't we have Afful? Afful is a border. This and Tumu is a border. Go there, Hamili is a border. There are a whole lot of border towns there.
You do not think that the NIA could have picked information that there seems to be a number of Ghanaians in this area that have not been able or who have not been able to register, and we need to give them an opportunity? You can't interpret that way?
I am saying that why have they waited until when it is 20th to 27th that we are ending the registration, and with the problem of Pusiga that has come on national limelight, then they rush to Pusiga and say we are not issuing ID cards to Pusiga.
This one is simple. It's straightforward. The coincidence is so glaring that you cannot ignore this.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. That was Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He's Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the opposition NDC. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Follow us on social media. Twitter at 3FM927. Facebook at 3FM927. And also on 3news.com.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time now for Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Ghana's crude oil production on declining trajectory for past 4 years, representing substantial decrease in revenue. Details of the 2023 annual report of Public Interest and Accountability Committee.
Production dropped from a high of 71.44 million barrels in 2019 to 48.25 million barrels in 2023.
Meanwhile, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers warns of expected increase in price of petroleum products at the pumps due to continuous depreciation of the cedi. We'll bring you details of these and more shortly. Thank you for your time. We'll go straight to our first story. The 2023 annual report of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee has revealed that crude oil production has maintained its declining trajectory for the past 4 years. According to the report, a volume of over 71 million barrels was produced in 2019, but declined to 48 million barrels, representing substantial decrease in resources and revenue for the country. Emerita Professor Elizabeth Adefu Shandorf is chairperson for PIAC.
Production dropped from a high of 71.44 million barrels in 2019 to 48.25 million barrels in 2023, representing an annual average decline of 9.2%. Secondly, the total profit from JOHL, that is the Jubilee Oil Holding Limited, received in 2023, amounting to over $70 million were not paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund for the second consecutive year. This brings the cumulative proceeds of our paid revenue into the Petroleum Holding Fund by JOHL to over $303 million at the end of 2023.
Well, that was Chairperson for Public Interest and Accountability Committee, Emerita Professor Elizabeth Adefiu Shandorf there. Meanwhile, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has warned the public to prepare to pay more for fuel at the pumps in the coming weeks due to the depreciation of the cedi. The warning is coming after some oil marketing companies started increasing prices at the pumps, despite projections that prices would go down for mid-May. The companies have blamed the decision to increase in prices on the uncertainties in the exchange rate market. As of Tuesday, May 21, 2024, $1 was selling for 15 cedis 20 pesos at Forex bureaus. COPEC said oil marketing companies are struggling due to the exchange rate volatilities. In a related development, economist Joe Jackson has raised concerns about the Ghanaian cedi facing further depreciation when the government restarts payments of debts owed to external creditors. These concerns stem from the potential outflow of funds from Ghana as repayments begin. This outflow could put pressure on the cedi's value, leading to a further weakening of the currency.
We are all scared that if the government resumes paying its external debts, and remember, they have not been paid since the 18th of December in 2022. It means there will be extra pressure on the cedi. The cedi will get scarce. So each time there is information that, oh, we're almost close to doing the deal with the foreign external commercial debt and we'll soon restart the process, what it does is that it feeds into sentiment that, hey, be careful, oh, the cedi is going to be under pressure when we have to pay them because we haven't paid them for so long. Once that happens, of course, if you're holding dollars, what will you do? You hold on to your dollars. You won't give it out. So it even puts more pressure on the cedi.
That was the voice of economist Joe Jackson. Away from that, government has expressed commitment to allocating the necessary funds to accelerate the progress of the Buankra Integrated Logistics Terminal and meet all deadlines. This project, owned by the Ghana Shippers Authority with the support of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and the Ministry of Transport, is currently funded by the government of Ghana. The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah has visited the terminal to inspect the progress of the ongoing construction. He expressed satisfaction with the progress and the quality of work executed so far.
From the briefing, they've done a lot in the area of the water, the container area, where we are going to have the main terminals. Yes, they've done a lot. Now they are on the road development. So when we went right, we all witnessed the internal road development. And it's not just a simple road construction because there are different aggregates that must be used at different points. You realize that where we have the articulated tracks or the trackers, they are using 060, which the aggregates are a bit bigger, so that it can withstand the heavy weight of the trucks.
That was Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah. Meanwhile, phase 1 of the Buankra Integrated Logistics Terminal project, which includes civil works, earthworks, road networks, drainage systems, and container freight terminals, is about 50% complete. Chief Executive of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Kwesi Afful Sapong, outlined the economic benefits of the project.
The project will be pivotal for handling imports and exports, particularly in the middle belt and northern regions of the country, and also our transit neighbors, including Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, which will further establish Ghana's role within the framework of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which is headquartered in Ghana. With the project's proximity to major seaports and accessibility to road networks, the project would reduce significantly transportation costs and enhance operational efficiency at ports and alleviate congestion at the ports of Tema and Takrady.
Kwesi Afful Sapong is Chief Executive of the Ghana Shippers Authority, and that brings us to the end of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, kindly log on to our website on 3news.com. My name is Manu. Afful. Do stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next with Black Rasta.